All right. First thing I want to talk a little bit about is different types of light. And the first one I'll talk about, which is a little bit more complex and nuanced, is called dappled light. And it's when light is uneven. So you'll often see this when you look through trees. Right now I have the shades. See how there's shadows and harsh light like all over. So dappled light. We want to try and avoid this. The next type of light is direct sunlight. So you can see over here, we just got blasted with direct sunlight. And generally we want to try to avoid that too. It makes for really harsh shadows. If you see over there, the shadow of the knife becomes very harsh. That can be used sometimes, and we also often have problems with the blade. Right, the reflection becomes harder to control. So that's the second type of light. So from this harsh direct light, I'm just going to move right here. So this now becomes indirect light. We still have enough light in here, but it's softer. We can see the shadow underneath of the shadow is a much softer shadow. So this is the type of light that we want to be able to work in. And I just went from this direct sunlight right here, I just moved it tiny little bit over. And we will work over here in this type of light, preferably. Okay, so I wanted to just talk a little bit more about that indirect light. So we moved from being directly in the sun to just outside of that. And we're just in that shadow part right now, where we're out of the direct sunlight. Why is the light softer? So what's happening is it's getting diffused. It's not going into like total darkness as soon as we just go into the shadow. There's still light there. And in a room like this, or something like, a living room, office, a study, whatever we have inside, even inside the garage, if the garage door is open and the light's flooding through there, and we get out of that harsh light into the shadow, into the softer light, the light is bouncing off around all of the other surfaces in the room, and we don't have that harsh shadow. So even though we still have some direction to the light coming from here, right? Because I can see the shadow over here. There's some light that's coming on this side. Like I can see the back of my hand because there's light bouncing. There's only a window on that side, but there's light bouncing off the ceiling and off of the wall from this side, giving me some of that softer light, right? So that's what we're looking for. There's still direction, and I can still affect, right? I move this way a little bit, and we see more of the details in here because I'm getting the light there. I move it here, those details are gone, right? Because it's now on the shadow side. I move it over here, so the direction of light still has a huge impact on what details I can see, and those are some of the things that we want to play with. So softer light, but still remember the directionality. We can also add some deflectors. So right now the wall and the ceiling is reflecting some of the light here, but I can get a reflector that I can bring in and have some control over where I'm going to have that light and shape it a little bit more. One more thing about diffusion. So this is an LED light, and right, so I'm letting the room diffuse it, but if I'm using a light source, here I could have the direct, you know, this is somewhat diffused because I have a large surface. If I just used one of those, it'd be a spot and get some of that harsh light. But we have things like this, a frosted, you know, kind of a material that will help break that light up and scatter it more when I'm lighting something. So I could add a reflector, or I could add another light that's a little bit more diffuse. And again, the further away we are, the more the light scatters. The closer we get, the more focused the light is and the harsher it will be.